No one could have motivated Spurs to get past Dinamo Zagreb tonight.
I am saying that regardless of how good a coach is, if you've got a bunch of comfortable players, then all the best. It's not straightforward.
Go on.
Dan, you mentioned, you said he's been a great man manager. Oh, we've been talking about him for a decade. He hasn't been a great man manager for quite some while. He was a great man manager when he was at Porto. He was a great man manager when he first came to Chelsea. He was a great man manager at Inter Milan. He fell out with a lot of people at Real Madrid. He fell out with people the second time at Chelsea. He's fallen out with people at Manchester United and didn't always motivate. I'm not talking about in terms of just saying, you know, you've got to go out and play your best. He actually demotivated by always criticising him. And now I think he's struggling at Spurs with several players. Dele Alli being one of those players. And there's several other players that are probably disenchanted with the way they've been managed. And that's down to him.
You wanted an Inter Milan squad, Don. He knew the team. He knew the type of players he was taking over. He knew he didn't have a blank cheque. We know what Daniel Levy is like. He knew the situation he was walking into.
Well, not necessarily, because you walk into a club and you walk into a squad where you see the names on paper and you know the players inside out because he's an intelligent manager, Jose Mourinho. But once you get on the training ground and you work with these players and you see them, you know, not putting a shift in and very inconsistent and are a little bit immature at times, and you've got to put an arm around them. That's not Jose's way. Jose's way normally is, you do this for me, we win Champions League finals, we win league titles. If you don't, off you go.
But it used to be that way, Don, didn't it? As Robert rightly said, it hasn't been that way for a while with Mourinho.
No, but you can't. But this is the dilemma he's in. He just can't waft into Spurs. I think he should, by the way. But I'm not sure how good it'll be in the short term. If he wafts into Spurs and he looks at half a dozen of those players and he goes, you're not for me, you're not going to take me where I want to be, he'll have to probably sell 4 or 5 of them. It takes him straight back to square one. So it's a really...
Why did Pochettino get the best? Pochettino got the best out of some of those players for 3 or 4 years. At the last 6 months, he didn't get the best out of them. But Pochettino got the best out of a lot of those players.
On, Shaq.
He didn't win anything. He got to a Champions League final, but he didn't win anything.
No.
But he's doing better than Jose Mourinho.
But that's the thing. Hold on here, Don. Jose Mourinho comes into Spurs and takes over a team that got to a Champions League final that, with some consistency under Pochettino, finished in the top 4. Yes, all of a sudden they had that half a season where things fell off the rails, but Jose Mourinho was brought in to take a team that consistently finished in the top 4, that got to a Champions League final and deliver silverware, because apparently that's what Jose Mourinho always does, deliver silverware. Now we're talking about a team that's sitting mid-table. Yes, they have a game in hand on those in the top 4. Yes, they have a final to play against Manchester City. Maybe that changes the conversation. But as of right now, you have a team who, despite the promise of Jose Mourinho, their football is awful. They just got knocked out by Zagreb, and here we are trying to find an excuse for Jose Mourinho.
We're not trying to find an excuse, Shaka. I just never thought it was the right fit from day one.
But he did have them top of the table,
well,
Don.
I'm there with you.
Come on, Dan.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think there's been 9 teams that have been top of the table in the Premier League this season.
So at one stage, Don, you had them 50-50 to win the title.
Because it's where they were at the time. Listen, it's where they were. They were winning games 1-0. They weren't a great watch, but I sort of got the plan. I got the plan what he was trying to do.
I'll tell you what, the luckiest thing for Mourinho at the moment...
Go on.
The luckiest thing for Mourinho at the moment, there isn't a crowd at White Hart Lane, because the crowd wouldn't put up with the sort of football they're playing. I know a lot of Spurs supporters, and they're so unhappy with the way their team are playing, even when they win games. They're almost rubbishing the team. They hate the way they're playing, they hate the style of football, and they don't really like the manager at the moment, so there's only going to be one end to it.
I agree. I'm not sitting here saying it's not Jose's fault. I'm just saying, all I'm trying to say to you guys is, which you know anyway, is when you watch Jose Mourinho's teams, you watch them battle and you watch them, you know, blood, sweat and tears for a victory and get to where they want to be. I think when you ask Jose, he'd probably never tell us, but maybe in the future, he'll look at this Tottenham squad and think, these aren't for me.
Robert, I'm intrigued by this soft players, comfortable players. How do you get over this? How do you restore kind of parity with them?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to inspire them in some way, whether you're inspiring them on the training ground, whether you're inspiring them with what you're talking to them about, whether you're talking to them as individuals. You can't actually motivate players in terms of just talking to them. It has to come on the training field. You have to inspire them in terms of what you're doing and sort of the way you're playing football and getting the best out of them. That's the way you inspire players. I know lots of managers that I played under that you just thought, I can't be bothered listening to you, I'm just going to do my own thing. But there was other managers that didn't actually speak that much to you, but on the training field, the training was brilliant, you knew what they were trying to get, and you wanted to play for that manager. At the moment, I don't think the Spurs players look at what they're doing on the training field and what the game plan and say, this is for me. It's a poor style of football at the moment.
So what we say now, are we saying this result is on Jose? I think it's on the players.
You know, you're talking about how do you inspire them, right? I'll tell you, there's one way you can inspire them. You can sign a player or a couple of players that come in and get on everybody. Now, they don't have to be the best players in the world, but they've got a bit of strength, they've got a bit of character, they'll lead them regardless of what's put in front of them. That's another way that players can be inspired that are comfortable. So what does Jose do? He goes and signs a guy who's been on the golf course for 18 months and who's taken 6 months to get fit. That's hardly going to inspire anybody, is it?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.